We'll circle back to Allstar JR in just a moment. Vlad actually addresses that situation because apparently Allstar JR was on his way to film a Vlad TV interview. And of course, people have been pointing fingers at Vlad, calling him a Fed. But first, Polo G. He comes out saying he's not trying to portray himself as some hardened gangster, not claiming to be the toughest guy in the room. But in the same breath, he's out here walking around with $500,000 worth of chain around his neck, daring people to try something. And nobody has, yet. Here's the thing though, keep pushing that narrative and eventually someone's going to call that bluff. You will get targeted, you will get robbed, and depending on who's watching, it could go a lot further than that. Publicly challenging people to take something from you is not a flex, it's a liability. The moment you start being flashy, you start attracting the wrong kind of attention. That's not an opinion, that's just how it works. In the world we live in, flaunting your wealth comes with real consequences. Some people will genuinely be happy for your success. Others will use it as fuel to go harder themselves. But there's a third group, and they don't want to be inspired. They want what you have. That's exactly why staying low-key isn't weakness, it's wisdom. Now, are those diamonds even real? That's a fair question. A lot of artists today are rocking lab-grown diamonds, which doesn't automatically make the piece cheap. The metal alone carries serious value, especially right now, with precious metal prices climbing the way they are. And the labor involved in setting that many stones, lab-grown or not, is no small thing. Could he have paid $500,000 for it? Possibly. But the moment you walk that same chain into a buyer's, you might walk out with $50,000. Maybe more, given the metal content, but nowhere close to what was paid. That's just the reality of how jewelry holds its value. And yet, here he is, no security detail, $500,000 on his chest, telling the world he moves alone and unbothered.
I ain't saying I'm the toughest nigga, no none of that. Y'all see how I be coming dolo. I worry about shit. I worry about a thing. How about 500,000 in jewelry, only 2 pieces, putting gas in a Bentley, for them grand.
Now, keep in mind, he's based in Hollywood. Bentleys are everywhere out there. It's not like pulling up in Chicago, where a Bentley genuinely turns heads. In Atlanta and in parts of New York, a Bentley is practically an everyday sight. Nobody's stopping to stare. So some of this posturing is just that, posturing, and it's some of the most unnecessary behavior you'll see. The comments are going to have a field day with this. People really need to stop moving like this because this is exactly the kind of thing that gets people hurt. You can walk around thinking you're untouchable right up until someone proves otherwise. Real ones don't announce themselves, they just move. Personally, I would never operate like that. I'm not in the rap game, but it wouldn't matter if I were. I've seen enough in my life to know better. Even if I had $1 billion, security wouldn't be optional. And honestly, the flashy lifestyle doesn't even do what people think it does. It doesn't earn you real respect. It actually creates problems. Low-key is always the smarter play. Now, shifting over, there's a clip of Doja taking a shot at Eminem, doing an impression and saying that's what he sounds like. Look, he's not a pop artist. That's never been the appeal. But as a pure rapper, Eminem is top tier, full stop. You may not be his biggest fan personally, and that's fine, but the skill level is undeniable. And someone in the comments noted she looks like the character E.T. dressed up, which, fair enough. But here's the thing with Eminem. Everyone's comfortable poking fun at him right up until he decides to respond. She's clearly not worried about it. She's streaming full-time now, which makes sense. Doja has made serious money at this point. She became the label's showcase artist for a while, the writers, the producers, the full machine behind her, and it worked. She's sitting at 56 million monthly listeners. Her latest release in 2025, a collaboration called Go Girl with Lotto and Doja, and we believe that Summer Walker was featured on it. When she drops something, it moves. Her last album performed well, and at this point, she genuinely doesn't have to work another day if she doesn't want to. Alright, now to Allstar JR. From what's been reported, he was set to sit down for a Vlad TV interview out in Detroit. The team flew someone there specifically for it. He was reportedly paid for his appearance, and then, on his way to the studio, he got arrested.
Vlad released the text messages to make it clear he had no involvement in the arrest and wouldn't cooperate with law enforcement under any circumstances. The timing is something, though. Had they waited until after the interview, who knows what might have come out, but they already had what they needed on him. What's already known publicly is that Allstar Jr. stood over Ben 10 and continued shooting. Ben 10 survived, but he's hospitalized and it's unclear whether he'll ever walk again. The backstory, though, is that Ben 10 had reportedly attempted to rob him first. This case is going to bring a lot of people down with it. J. Prince Jr. was reportedly caught on surveillance footage coordinating with individuals before they entered the restaurant. This wasn't a spontaneous run-in, it was planned. There are even rumors suggesting he had a role in setting up the jewelry robbery. The reported motive? A personal conflict with Allstar Jr. over a woman, specifically Allstar Jr.'s child mother. Apparently, she kept going back to Allstar Jr. and J. Prince Jr. didn't take that well. His father's reputation on matters like this is well documented. WAC 100 has spoken on it at length. J. Prince Sr. does not tolerate these kinds of situations. Remember the Takeoff case? He went on a very public tour to distance the family from any connection to that incident. Not an apology, more of a damage control operation. Because in the Prince family's world, they're never wrong.
And speaking of Takeoff, the DJ who was out on bond, reportedly with help from connected individuals, has since graduated from college and appears to be living normally. Whether charges ever come in that case remains to be seen. But the pattern is hard to ignore. J. Prince Jr. keeps showing up in proximity to serious incidents. He's potentially looking at RICO exposure, organized crime charges, because at some point, the volume of situations becomes impossible to explain away. 2 high-profile cases are already a lot. There are others where people died in circumstances where he was nearby. You can't keep being the common denominator. Even Birdman got pulled into one situation where people tried to connect him to a death, and he had to publicly clarify that it was a jeweler who passed and he had nothing to do with it. But J. Prince Jr. was present there too. The feds are watching, and as for Ben 10, he walked in with a weapon. That's premeditated. Charges are coming. Ben 10 brought that weapon in with clear intent, premeditated from the start. They just haven't formally charged him yet, for whatever reason. As for Allstar Jr., the reason they brought him in was straightforward. He was a felon with an active warrant and he discharged a firearm. But here's the detail that matters. It wasn't his weapon. The gun had hit the ground during the altercation and he picked it up. Given that, there's a real possibility he beats that charge. Did he go too far? Honestly, probably. But he was in survival mode. And if you put most people in that same situation, someone trying to rob you, possibly kill you in the middle of a restaurant, the reaction isn't going to be calm and measured. Most people would snap too. This is exactly why it pays to be selective about where you go and who you're around. Certain environments just breed chaos. Some people wear that like a badge. I go everywhere. I'm not scared of anything. And that's fine. But if you love that kind of energy, you'll keep finding it. Me? I want no part of that life. I stay away from situations like that, and you probably should too. Life is already complicated enough without volunteering for drama. You want to be the toughest person in every room? Go ahead. That's your choice to make. On a completely different note, Chris Tucker says he's already seen the Michael Jackson biopic twice and is planning to go back for a 3rd viewing, called it the greatest movie he's ever seen. One thing that's worth highlighting is that Michael Jackson's nephew, the son of one of his brothers, plays him in the film. That's a genuinely powerful casting choice. It's definitely on the watch list. Might wait for the home release rather than catching it in theaters, but it's worth seeing either way. Now, Trick Daddy, this man will not stop. He keeps bringing up the same topic in interviews, and it's just a lot. He speaks about certain things with the enthusiasm of a food critic reviewing a 5-star meal, and honestly, nobody asked. We know him from his music. He had a solid run, he showed up on Love and Hip Hop, but this is not the conversation anyone needs to keep having. Please, for everyone's sake, let it go. All right, moving on to something more substantive. Mary J Blige recently spoke out about the Burger King commercial she appeared in, the one where she was promoting their crispy chicken sandwich and sang a little jingle for it. Some viewers called it racist, arguing that putting a black woman on camera singing about chicken was a deliberate and offensive choice by the brand.
Here's the honest take. Corporations rarely get celebrity integration right. It usually comes across as forced and awkward, especially with singers and rappers. Comedians tend to pull it off. Everyone else just looks like they're reading off a cue card. Was it racist? If certain viewers interpreted it that way, that says more about where their minds went than what was actually on screen. It looked like a corny commercial, which is just standard Burger King, and she walked away with a check. The real story, though, is why she needed that check in the first place. She's mentioned in the past that she had poor management and representation during a certain period, and that's technically true, but the deeper issue was personal. Her split with her ex-husband, Martin Isaacs, which played out between roughly 2013 and 2018, left her in serious financial trouble. Millions of unpaid bills, back taxes owed to the IRS, court-ordered temporary spousal support of $30,000 per month, and ultimately around $10 million in total debt she had to work through.
She was forced back onto the road, touring, not for the love of performing, but to dig herself out of a financial hole that took years to climb out of. And this is Mary J Blige we're talking about, one of the greatest R&B artists this generation has ever produced. That's the reality behind a lot of what we see, the commercial, the tour, all of it. Sometimes survival looks like a Burger King jingle. Watching her go through all of that is genuinely difficult. She had her share of struggles before this period too, but that's a separate conversation. The point is, by this stretch, she was buried in debt. Money was coming in, but the obligations coming out were overwhelming it. And honestly, this is a situation that can happen to anyone operating at that level. When income is high, spending tends to match it, sometimes exceed it. Big homes, the cost to furnish them, the cost to maintain them, and the cars to fill the driveway, it compounds fast. Her financial collapse ended up being the opportunity that helped DJ Envy level up, and we'll get into that. So around 2013, several large bank loans came due at once. That's what pushed her toward the Burger King deal. That's what pushed her to list her New Jersey mansion, originally purchased for $14 million, and eventually reduce the asking price from $14 million down to $12.5 million. She was also claiming no income from a film project she had worked on at the time. Then in 2017, DJ Envy stepped in, and he didn't pay anywhere near $12.5 million. He picked up that property for under $6 million, less than half of what she originally wanted. You have to wonder, are those two even still on good terms after that? To be fair, real estate in New Jersey at that time had its own dynamics. It's the New York metro area. Prices are elevated. But even so, what Envy paid was a bargain by any measure. And that's the uncomfortable truth about property and vehicles. They're only worth what someone is willing to write a check for on that specific day. DJ Envy knows that better than most. He's a serious car collector, and classic car values can shift dramatically in a short window. Since we're back on Allstar Jr., one thing worth adding, the federal interest in him goes beyond the shooting incident. He's living at a level that simply doesn't line up with what rap music alone would generate. That gap is exactly the kind of thing investigators look for. That investigation is coming, if it isn't already underway. Back to Mary J. The Burger King commercial was around 2012. She needed every dollar she could pull in. So for her to now come out and frame it as something hurtful or embarrassing, it was a commercial. A corny one, sure, but she cashed the check when she needed it, and that's completely understandable. What doesn't land is the revisionist framing years later. Now, the Birdman and Lil Wayne situation. There's footage circulating again of Birdman kissing Wayne, and Birdman keeps offering the same explanation. He didn't know if he'd see him again, he came from the streets, that was just how he showed love. But here's the problem with that story. By the time that footage was filmed, around 2001 or 2002, neither of them was living that street life anymore. They were in studios, they were famous. The "I didn't know if you'd see me again" reasoning doesn't hold up when you're scheduled to be in the same recording session the next day. Birdman took advantage of Wayne. That's the honest read on it. However much you respect what he built in music, his behavior toward Wayne over the years tells a different story. And the public kiss wasn't affection. It felt more like a display, like ownership, almost like humiliation dressed up as love.
Wayne eventually figured that out. Someone got in his ear about the money, how much was missing, how much had been taken, and things were never the same after that. They keep it cordial and public because Wayne doesn't do unnecessary drama, but the genuine friendship, that's been gone for a long time. Blueface is out here with a new woman, and honestly, the commentary writes itself. We'll come back to that. No Cap brought Sonya out during a live performance, and this is the same woman who's reportedly been linked to multiple artists, flown out everywhere, and according to people online, when she slides into someone's DMs, it's basically a travel package. That joke had people on the floor. Bringing her out on stage again, though, was a questionable decision. Then there's Joe Budden going off on Drake for calling an ice sculpture rollout corny. Joe Budden dislikes everything. That's just his personality at this point. But the ice sculpture rollout thing was a promotional rollout, nothing more. He had the same energy when J. Cole showed up somewhere in a Honda Civic, acting like that was some kind of character flaw. The Cole situation was different, though. Cole has spent years building this image of humble simplicity while being one of the wealthiest artists in the game, growing the locks, riding bikes, and keeping it grassroots. We see what's happening there. Cole is an exceptional musician, but as a person, he seems genuinely conflicted about his own identity, and a lot of what he does publicly feels performative, like he's decided that this particular persona is what sells records, and he's committed to it. Separate the art from the individual. The music stands on its own. As for Birdman, we already know where that situation stands. He's trying to monetize an interview, stirring up talking points to drive interest. He'll make his money doing it, then probably end up back on Vlad 6 months later, or launch his own streaming platform. That's just the cycle now. Every rapper eventually becomes a streamer. All right, we covered everything worth hitting today. That's a wrap.